Welcome to the Become Limitless podcast. This week we're going to cover yoga, and I wanted to cover this topic because I can see there's massive benefits in doing yoga, and I want to start my own yoga journey as well. So you'll see more yoga updates on the Instagram as well. So head along to the Instagram and follow along if you're not already to see the updates on my yoga progression as well. Now, I'm going to cover in this episode 3 different types of yoga that I believe to be the best for your beginning. So that's what I'm going to start with. I'm also going to talk about the benefits of having a yoga practice. So the physical benefits, the mental benefits, all the different benefits that you can have from practicing, having a practice of your own, a daily practice or a weekly, whatever the practice, how many often you can do it, having a practice of your own. And then we'll get into how you can implement your own yoga practice into your life. What are the different ways you can approach starting yoga? So, and then once that all's done, then I'm going to give you a summary of how and what I'm going to be doing with my yoga journey and how I want to attack my yoga. And then I'm going to obviously, share my experiences later on with yoga and what I felt like I built better flexibility, I became more centered, I was more, created more awareness of my body and my mind. I got more spiritual, whatever the case may be. I want to I try this yoga and see how we go. Now, without further ado, let's get straight into it. So let's have a look at some of the benefits of doing yoga. So it's meditative. So most of the yogas you're out there you're going to do will have a meditative state to it, whether they actually do a meditation during the practice or just being aware and being so still and with your body is a meditative experience. Having that brain shut off and have to be focused completely on where you are right there, being in the present moment, is a meditative experience. So yoga itself can do that, which will allow you to relax, allow you to train the brain, because by doing this you're obviously firing and wiring all those circuits, and they create networks, and those networks create habits that allow you to teach your brain how to stop. So not when you're just doing yoga, to stop thinking, to be present, to be in the moment. And that's what you are doing. You're practicing being present in the moment because you've got to be with your body when you're doing yoga. It also allows you to sleep then, because you can go to sleep and then go into that state where you can slow the mind down. There's many, many different things you can do out there, and yoga is just another tool to allow you to bring awareness to your body and to bring that stillness to your mind, to quieten the mind down. And that's just a skill you've got to learn how to do. So it's really, really important that you be able to just bring the activity down in your brain. And as we all know from other previous episodes, and if you haven't already, go check out my episode on sleep and on the brain as well, and how your brain moves through different brainwave states to go into sleep. And by practicing yoga and the meditative side and being able to relax and calm the mind down, you can start moving through those brainwave patterns and bringing yourself down to a sleeping state. So it's really powerful in that way as well. Another benefit of doing yoga is reduce stress. So it's been shown in studies. They've done studies on now with all this information. So it's not just hearsay that, it reduces stress, you feel better, you feel so much lighter, all that fluff that can happen. And you can see that can be misconstrued, and people are trying to make money and all those kind of things. And you can see it can be it can lose its value. But then they've done scientific studies on people that have done yoga. They get a control group that doesn't do the yoga, and then a group that does do the yoga, and then they measure their stress levels. So their cortisol is one of the highest, not the highest, is one of the prominent chemicals. And if you've I've also talked about cortisol earlier in earlier episodes as well, that deals with stress. Cortisol is good. Like in short bursts, stress is okay for the body, but yoga allows you to switch that cortisol off by taking your body out of the sympathetic, meaning fight or flight, into the parasympathetic, which is rest and recovery, which switches the cortisol off. So the yoga allows you to bring yourself back, to slow, control breathing, to control the body, to be completely at peace, completely at one with yourself, to be in the present moment. And all those things can't happen if you're in a sympathetic or fight or flight system when cortisol's been turned on. So what we're doing is putting our body into a certain state. We're going into a different certain circumstances. We're going into a different environment when we go into to do yoga, which switches that cortisol off, reduces stress. And of course, with every experience we have, whenever we turn off that cortisol, we turn down that sympathetic system, and we control that changeover. It's no longer a automatic or a subconscious thing to happen that you go from para to sympathetic or sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system. You now control. You have a certain level of control, or you have a certain level of controlling what controls that or switches you from those different states. And once you do that, obviously the firing and the wiring of the circuits, and then the networks, and then the habits, and now you have control over, okay, do I want to feel like I want to pump myself up into a sympathetic system to run, exercise, do something like that, where it can be boost your performance and so many other aspects. And then no, I want to go to sleep now, and I can control. Okay, I want to put myself into this state. I want to do these things, and if I do these certain things, and the brain will kick in. Okay, oh, hang on a second, we know what to do here. We go to the parasympathetic nervous system. We're going to slow down. We're going to aid with going to sleep. We're going to reduce the stress on the body, and voila, we're going to go into sleep. We're going to go sleep really easily. So there's so many different things that can happen from just being able to control these systems that happen in the background that really regulate and decide how our lives are going to be and the quality of our life we're going to have. Another benefit is physical benefits. The physical benefits of doing yoga, they are working on balance, your flexibility, and your strength. Then the poses that you do, they tie into each one of those little categories of balance, flexibility, and strength. The different types of yoga, so you get the beginner yogas that are a little bit easier on your body, and target different things. And then you've got the more experienced and more aggressive yogas, like the hot yogas and all those kind of things, all those kind of yogas, that will really enhance your ability to balance flexibility and strength in those different areas that they target. And they can be quite intense, but that's all depends on what you wanted to get out of yoga as well. So that's some of the physical benefits that you can get. So balancing, most people have seen yoga, like you've been exposed to yoga to a certain degree on the TV, whatever the case may be, ads on your phone, like anything, any fitness wear, advertising. They normally have a person in a yoga stance or something like that. It just increases your flexibility. It increases your balance because you might be on one foot. Just standing there, flexibility, your strength, because you can be holding. So some of the yoga practices, you hold positions for certain periods of time, for like 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes, a single pose. So you can imagine how strong you can get from that. In your core, you can work on your pelvic floor strength. There's a whole host of different things you can be strengthening from yoga. And because it's a full body movement, and you're moving your body around, you get better cardiovascular. Like any exercise you do, and this is counted as exercise. Yoga is counted as exercise. You get all the benefits of cardiovascular health. You get all your weight loss. You get all the different benefits that you get from exercising when you do yoga. So you're getting a whole host of things. And the other thing that yoga focuses on is the breath as well. So when you're doing breathing and you're doing physical movement, that's where it becomes more of a present moment, and that's where it becomes more of a mental benefit in there, and having obviously what we just detailed before. So the physical side is the exercise, and the mental side is where you start to breathe and you're becoming more aware of where your body is, what your body's doing, where am I feeling sore here, what's going on in my body exactly, and you can be very present with your body. And that leads to another benefit from doing yoga, and that is creating more energy for yourself. Now I know you've been in those situations where you've had greater amount of energy from doing something, or you feel just like you're on fire, you're smashing it out, you're just endless amounts of energy. And obviously your mood then increases, your mood gets better after all that. So yoga can also tap into those. There are certain types of yogas that allows you to move physical energy, move your energy in your body to boost your alertness and your enthusiasm, and really really bring up those positive feelings of feeling powerful, strong, and increasing your self-esteem, making you feel bulletproof to a certain degree, becoming limitless, feeling limitless in that routine that you're doing when you're practicing your yoga. And that can all come from just being in the moment, being present with your body, being in those flexible moments, knowing that you're doing stuff, opening your body up, releasing all those points in your body and making your body feel really good, as well as mentally you're exercising yourself by holding certain poses, breathing through the poses, and keeping that coordination, keeping your brain active as well, is very powerful and allows you to move a lot of energy, to release a lot of energy in your body, and you feel revitalized, you feel boosted after you do it, and you can feel really, really powerful once you've done it as well. So that's why I would like to practice my yoga in the mornings. That's when I'm going to try and do it, early in the mornings, just to see whether I can get a boost through the night, through the day, and then we can also practice a different type of yoga to put yourself to sleep or to calm yourself down. But I'm going to be doing yoga as an energy boosting, just like this, energy boosting, moving energy, trying to get myself into a peak state for the day ahead, for my exercise, for my job, for this podcast, for the Instagram. I want to be in a peak mental and physical state, and by boosting my energy, boosting my alertness and the enthusiasm, and really getting a positive mindset from the yoga, I can do that. So there are a few of the benefits that I have found from yoga. Well, I believe that from yoga, and I've noticed from myself just doing every now and then, just doing out yoga every now and then. The one thing that I want to finish with is the increase in quality of life. And this is my final point, and because it combines all those benefits, if you look at all those benefits that happen from practicing yoga, your quality of life is going to go up. It allows you to have a better life. It does. Better flexibility, better balance, better strength in your body. You're not getting injured as much. You're improving your cardiovascular health. You're improving your whole body health. You're reducing your tendencies or your risk of getting injured. You're also increasing your mental awareness, your spiritual awareness. It really hits a lot of the topics that most people want to be building on. And yoga just seems to tick all those boxes. That's why it's becoming such a popular thing to do, because people realize, like, if I can do this and get like reduced stress, better quality of sleep, and then I'm exercising and I'm getting all the benefits from exercise, I'm ticking lots of boxes here and I'm feeling really good about it. And obviously that mindfulness that you're developing while doing your practice then leads into other things in your life, and you can move. Then you start looking at, what am I eating? What am I drinking? Am I drinking soft drinks? Am I drinking alcohol too much? Am I overindulging in sugary snacks? And that's what I want to get out of this. So I've tried a lot of things when trying to quit sugar and stopping or even reducing the amount of sugar I have. And I want to try yoga to really increase my mindfulness and to try and get myself making more mindful decisions when it comes to me eating. And that's some of the lead-ons from doing these practices and creating those circuits and creating those networks and creating those habits in your brain allows you to make more mindful decisions throughout your whole life, throughout your whole day. Okay, now let's get on to the types of yoga. So the 3 types of yoga that I want to cover are flow yoga, restorative yoga, and hatha yoga. Now, these ones are the ones that I look at as easier beginner ones. The flow yoga is a little bit more advanced, where you've got to link your breath and the movements together, but they aren't physically demanding. You can get in there and give it a crack regardless. Like I'm flexible. I'm pretty flexible for a guy, but I don't consider myself a very flexible person, or a person that's like, I'm a very stiff person. My shoulders, my back, there's certain areas of my body that just don't want to move anymore. And I want to stop that. I want to remove that, or release that tension, that trauma that I've experienced in my body from obviously injuries or whatever the case may be, emotional trauma that might be held in my body, whatever it is. I want to move that out and move that and release that. Now, I hurt my back when I was a gymnast, way back when, and I've never been able to move my back properly since. So that's something I want to work on through yoga to see if I can get it to move again, move it freely again, and get the shoulders in, because it's all linked in there and it's all very tight. So I want to try that, to try and release that with my yoga practice. And I'm going to try to do every day for the next month. So that's 30 odd days of yoga. So here we go. So flow yoga, it's a very quicker style of yoga where you're going into a movement and you're linking with your breath. So you'll breathe out and then move into a pose, and you'll breathe in and then you breathe out and then move into another pose. So you've got to have a greater level of understanding of what the poses are that you're going into as well. So but with flow yoga, it can feel really loose. It can make you feel really light. I should also mention it's also called vinyasa. I want to make sure that I'm pretty sure I'm saying that correctly, but it can also be known as vinyasa or flow yoga. And the main characteristic of vinyasa or flow yoga is that it's not the same. It doesn't stay the same. You're not going to get a repetitive class if you go to a class, or a repetitive thing to do. So there's so many different movements and different practices that are going to happen when you do flow yoga, that I want to chuck that in there, because then people aren't going to get as stale. So some people can get like, I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over. What am I doing this for? Flow yoga, vinyasa yoga will allow you to do different things, rock up and just have a completely different practice in the morning, practice at night, whenever you practice. So it's very, very important, I believe, to allow you to keep going at yoga, to keep it fresh for you. The next one is restorative yoga, and I believe this is amazing for beginners and people that have got injuries or chronic illnesses, or chronic injuries as well. So they're battling with like arthritis or things like that. It's a very relaxed, a very slow. You sit in different positions. There's a lot of different aids like blocks and bolsters. You'll have to look those up to find out what they are. All you need to know right now is that they help you hold positions and stay in positions for longer. And it's really looking at reducing inflammation, reducing stress on the body, working on the injuries on the joints and the fascia of the body, which is a connective tissue that connects the whole body together. So by working on that, we can release the body a lot more. And it's a very slow, it goes for a little bit longer than a normal yoga practice does as well. And it's very relaxing as well. So it's not a strenuous yoga as well. So it's very beginner friendly, let's put it that way. And I'll be practicing that just to reduce some of the damage to my own body and try to heal some of the damage that I've had in my body. The last one is Hatha Yoga, and it is a really good starting point for yoga. It gives you the basics of all the yoga movements, poses, and all those parts of the yoga. And then it also is slow and gentle on the body as well. So by doing those 3 different types of yoga, you can see that they'll build you into it. They'll make it a little bit easier. And then obviously once you get to that certain stage where you're actually enjoying the yoga a lot more and you're getting a lot more out of it, you're a bit more advanced, then you can start to move to all the different types. And just Google the yoga styles and you'll see them all there. And there's so many different types there for so many different things you can do to target different areas of your body, to cater for different people and what they want to do. So it's very important. And the last thing we want to cover is, how do you get started? Now, from my experience and doing yoga with a yoga instructor, I recommend going to your local yoga studio and joining in on a class, because you can be in the environment, you can become really present, you can get all the benefits that you're going to get from yoga by being in that environment, that situation, being in that studio. You also get the added interaction with your yoga instructor as well, so that allows you to get more feedback, to feel what they're feeling, to run off their energy as well, and to become really obviously present in the moment, just like everyone else is trying to do in that same room. So you're all on the same page as well. Then you can also, obviously, there's YouTube videos you can follow, there's apps you can download to practice yoga, and they also work just as well if you want to start out. It's a good way to start out too if you want. And if you feel shy and you don't want to be in a room full of other people doing it, and you feel like you might be embarrassed because you don't know what you're doing, please don't feel that way. They're not like that. Yoga instructors and the whole yoga community, they're not going to be like that. They're going to be practicing, they're going to be focusing on what they're doing. They're focusing on their yoga. So definitely don't let that stop you going and practicing yoga in a studio. How I'll be doing it? I'm very lucky. I'm married to a yoga instructor, so I'll be able to practice and just utilize my lovely wife whenever I need her to chime in and help me in certain positions and help me when I need to explore different positions and to explore different things in the yoga, my yoga journey. So I'm very lucky in that state. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and do it as much as I can in the mornings to, as I said before, boost myself, to get myself going in the mornings. I hope you got something out of that episode. Definitely stay tuned for further episodes on this in my yoga journey and how I feel, my progress to removing those blocks, those tension, those tight points, that stiffness that I talked about before, and how I move past those and what it's actually doing for myself, doing it for my shoulders, my back, my whole body, and how much more flexible and better I could feel of it. And also the little side benefits that I'm going to get hopefully from it. So I'll also be talking about those. So stay tuned for that. And that's the end of this episode.